Good afternoon. You've nearly made it. We're almost at the end. And we all know what happens next after this amazing weekend. We go socialize with each other tonight. We exchange names and numbers. And then we go home and we get conference drop. And we're here to propose some things that we hope will help ameliorate that conference drop. We're here to talk about the Cascadia Music Collective. Some of you may already be registered. Who here's registered for Saturday already? For those of you who didn't know, there is one more day of programming tomorrow. And you're still invited to join us. You can actually just walk in and be a part of it. And the details are in your conference brochure. Just right after Friday, there's the Saturday details. We'll be meeting tomorrow from 9 to 4:30 at the King County Chinook building. And there we're going to do more dialoguing like we did yesterday and more team building. So let's introduce ourselves and talk about what we're trying to build. I'm Marian. I'm with MusicAlaska.
She's awesome. I'm Meara McLaughlin. I run MusicPortland and MusicOregon.
Nathan Walker, Music Idaho, and representing Treefort Music Fest and Duck Club as well.
And I'm Kate Becker from King County Creative.
Our 4 state-level music organizations for Alaska, Washington, Oregon, and Idaho started meeting a few years ago. And we would meet once in a while, and then we started meeting once a month, and then we started meeting twice a month. And now we've been meeting every week to get ready for tomorrow. We are looking for strength and solidarity across our region because we have a massive geography. We have some similar challenges and some different challenges. And we decided it might be important to keep doing what we're doing this weekend all year round. So we're interested in building some really lightweight, really inexpensive, just online and in-person infrastructure to keep having these discussions. This is organic, grassroots, community-led. Anyone in our region can participate. Anyone not in our region can try building a similar thing. If you're interested in this, please join us tomorrow. I'm gonna hand it off and we'll tell you a little more.
So when we started, we actually dubbed ourselves the Cascadia Music Corridor. And we decided ultimately that we weren't building a pathway. We weren't wayfinding anybody. We're building a collective because there are stories across the region that we need to hear. Our whole commitment is to collective impact. And from the very beginning, I think we all kind of surprised each other at how eager we were to be transparent, to share resources, to share knowledge, to share failures. And that's what we want to continue to grow because this is not a top-down, this is a bottom-up, and we need everybody to be a part of it.
One of our goals has been inclusivity, and in that regard, for our goals here is more like a geographical inclusion. So making sure that, our 4 states share a lot of geographical similarities and isolation, and generally one single metro area that provides most of the music activity and then consumes most of the music attention, music infrastructure attention. But we want to make sure that we are inclusive of our entire geographies and including our rural communities and our smaller cities within our plan, and also within our getting feedback from them and including them in this process.
Yeah, we're finding that our artists want to know if I live in Boise, how do I tour in Alaska? If I live in Alaska, how do I get out and borrow a car when I get to Seattle because I can't afford a car rental anymore? If I'm playing way out in East Oregon, how do I borrow a keyboard? The venues want to know, how do I find new artists that I can afford when they're coming through? How do I puncture through the noise to find interesting new voices? And all of us are simply needing to talk to each other about exactly the initiatives we've been learning about all day. Like, this summit is so valuable, what we've been doing this weekend, because all these resources exist, but none of us have the platform to share them with each other, as billionaires make it harder to talk. So what we're interested in doing is creating a lightweight communication network that, if we have to, we can port from free platform to free platform. We're interested in taking directories with us, venue directories, artist directories, creating compatible data sets as we do surveying. 3 of our states have just done major statewide censuses, and Idaho's next. We're making our data compatible so we can compare it across the region, and we're learning about surveying from each other as we go. And last of all, we see this as key to mutual support. We are going to need mutual support in every sense for the next several years and beyond as we rethink systems, as we suffer and survive systems. We need mutual support, and for mutual support, we have to be able to find each other. We want this to be built grassroots. We want it to be built by consensus through conversation, exactly like what you experienced yesterday if you came to the intensive. So, if you're able to join us tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., the details are in your program. Show up, join us, lunch is provided. And if you're not able to join us, please stay tuned. You will be able to find out in the post-MPF resources how to join in this effort. We are looking for every organization and every individual in the Northwest who is interested in this work. Alaska, Oregon, Washington, and Idaho getting together to work together. And if you're interested in this model and you're not in those areas, talk to us and we'll see what we can share, because sharing is going to get us there.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all, we just about made it. We are going to, a couple thank yous real quick before we close out the day with some art and some music. Huge thanks, obviously, to Washington Hall, Robin and the team here that have been making this stuff work for us. They've been so good to work with. Thanks to all of our partners, again, KXP, King County, Campfire Music Foundation, all of you who took your time and money to come to this thing. It's really been an honor to have these conversations in this couple of days of programming. Obviously, huge thanks to the MPF board and all the rest of it. So, I am really excited to not have to talk anymore. I'm sure you're excited not to have to hear me anymore. We're going to turn the mic over to MPF board member. You heard from him earlier. Hakeem Bellamy is going to do a little bit of walking and talking, and then we're going to finish strong back here with Dark Cheeseman. So, Hakeem. Hey.
Michael, whoa, hey, hello. Michael Bracey, make some noise for Michael Bracey, ladies and gentlemen. I learned so much from that man. In fact, came to, like when Jamie Duffy was up here talking, a lot of what happened was I worked for city government and we were trying to figure out in Albuquerque how to do better by the musicians in our community and how to do better by the music lovers in our community. And we were looking for guidance. And when I was working under that mayor, we contracted with a team that brought Michael and Danny and some of the people that I now get to sit on the MPF board with. And even though I no longer work for the city, I stuck with MPF and the board because this work is so important. And being here with you all today fed me. Sometimes when I'm in spaces like this, I get to do, if you've ever been at a conference and they have a guy in the corner doing a comic strip of everything that's happened and they gift it back to you as a little summary, they call that graphic facilitation or graphic recording. I have a little trick that I do with poetry because my illustration skills are terrible. So as I was listening today and doing my version of doodling as poets laureate are wont to do, you inspired something I want to share with you. That will be the something new. And then I'll also share something old. And then by that time, they'll be ready to go and give you music. And you don't have to listen to people talk for the rest of the day. That cool? Does that work for y'all? But I do want to put in a little thing. When you're up there, you're trying to sound smart, and everybody next to you is smarter. You forget what you're going to say. One of the things I did forget to say during our panel is it's not surprising, right? And it was said in one of the later panels. Let me give credit. It was not surprising that the government is not necessarily good at art, right? The government is not always or ever really been a fan of art because art is challenging at times. And I am reminded, because I just went and saw Sinners, which is basically a vampire musical, I am reminded, that there were many times when music was the enemy, right? And the people who were into the good music, the best music, became the enemy, right? We had sundown laws, right? And we're talking about nightlife. So sundown laws, certain kinds of people, you don't get to be here after dark, right? And we're trying to reclaim and fill those spaces with beauty, even though we've oftentimes found ourselves at odds with the government. And you could talk about the outlawing of rock and roll. You could talk about the shaming of blues music. You could talk about the nuisance that became punk rock and hip hop and on and on and on. So You're doing the work. They won't make it easy, but you're doing it anyway because you know that really 1,000 years from now, we're gonna remember the music more than we do the people in power. So here's the poem I wrote. Here's the poem I wrote for you today with you. And you've heard this quote. I couldn't come up with a title, so I just borrowed a quote from Jean-Michel Basquiat, right? Art is how we decorate space. Music is how we decorate time. Music will always be the way we pass and capture time. Always be more ears than eyes, more body than mind. Always be sides when we ride and rewind time, where we know each other by what we sound like. A mess of heavy breathing and heartbeat boxing on hardwood dance floors because this is our center ring moment, the fight of our lives for these, the only places we have ever felt alive in, our God-given right to party at all hours, to get a ride home at all hours, unafraid of the dark, unafraid to bring life to the night. Have you seen us in stilettos and sequins strutting down the sidewalks like a disco ball on stilts? You can't miss us. Even with these costume glasses, sans lenses, all fashion, anti-colorblind, even when we wear our sunglasses at night, somehow both anti-authority and anti-anti, pro-people, pro-pupil, pro-publica, and pro-prosperity, pro-pump, pump, pump it up, and pro-pump up the jams. But they still can't see us. With all this noise we bring and sing, with all this many of us independent in our togetherness, isn't it incredible how those who disappear us pretend like we never existed and know better than that? We loud like rainbows that you can hear, touch, and feel, even at night. Rain or shine, rain and shine, stream or stage, dream on stage as a reminder of all the things we do not want to forget, like how to break records and not artists, like how to bridge the gap between festival and famine, like how a standard sheet of music, like how a standard sheet music staff, there we go, like how a standard sheet music staff is 5 horizontal lines, and how a rainbow is anywhere from 5 to 7 bands, like how music reminds us to color outside the lines, like no one is looking. So that's for y'all. I was editing it on the fly. Thank you very much, and I'm gonna give you the mic. I'm gonna give you to you.
Hey everybody, it's been a great day. Check. Somebody has to say this out loud. Please put your hands together for Kate and for Michael and for everybody that brought us together. This is amazing. We're very lucky to have thought leaders like them and bringing us all together. We mentioned them earlier. One of our 2024 grant recipients, Dark Cheeseme, is going to perform for you. Kay told you some stories about what our grant allowed them to do. But let me just ask one more thing. We've been sitting down all day. Why don't we stand up, come up here, and experience some music, the thing that we're here talking about. So come on up, and let's do this.